Rick Grimes is the main protagonist of the Walking Dead TV show and comic book. He is the main leader of our group that we have all learned to love. Now we are patiently waiting to see his next story in the Walking Dead movies, but what would have happened if way back in the beginning, even before the fall of humanity, what if Rick was never in a coma? Now this would take us back to the very first episode of the first season. Right back to the opening minutes of the show when Rick and Shane are eating their lunch. Rick asks, what's the difference between men and women? Shane goes on about how he never met a woman who could turn off a light. Suddenly their CB radio goes off. They respond to a call over to help and back up to stop 3 bank robbers. They get to the scene and make a perimeter with their vehicles and have their weapons drawn. The criminals drive over the spike strip laid out by the officers and wreck their vehicle. 2 suspects get out of the car firing their weapons. Rick gets shot in his vest and goes down. The first 2 suspects are shot and killed during the shootout. Shane walks over to Rick and makes sure everything is okay. Leon Bassett takes point to make sure everything is clear and there is no other suspects. Right then, a third man stumbles out of the car, shooting Leon in the side of his vest. Shane stands to his feet, shotgun in hand, killing the suspect, telling everyone else they need an ambulance and they need it now. Leon is taken to the hospital and slips into a coma. As time goes by, they all begin to hear and see strange reports of things on the news. Not everyone is sure what to make out of what is going on. It seems like some sort of new drug has hit the streets, making people turn cannibal. Suddenly the power grid goes down. Things begin to get crazy everywhere. The CDC realizes they are losing control of the situation, and the government deploys the military to take back control of the cities. As the dead begin to grow in numbers, Operation Cobalt is put in place. The military tells people to head to large cities for protection. Rick knows he has to get him and his family to safety. He gets Lori and Carl and meets up with Shane at the sheriff's station. They know they have to make it to Atlanta in order to reach safety. Rick stays with Lori and Carl as Shane goes in for extra ammo and weapons. Shane emerges, shortly with the sheriff's bag ready to go. Shane tells Rick, last time we were on the gun range, I knew I'd end up with a few extra rounds of yours. Rick says, you and that bag like the bottom of an old lady's purse. As Shane hands Rick the 4 rounds for the Python, a helicopter flies over and announces to any survivors to make their way to the concession stand at the park, where they are evacuating refugees. Rick tells Shane we should head to the park and make sure everyone makes it out safely, and maybe we can hitch a ride on one of those helicopters. Shane says to Rick, your first priority are Carl and Lori. We need to get to Atlanta and get them then safely. If not there, then we need to head to Fort Benning. The military would be there, and it would be heavily armed and protected. Rick explains that they are still sheriffs, and they still need to help those that are in need. If he wants to head to Atlanta or Fort Benning, he will meet him there and they can stay connected on the walkies. But he is going to go make sure everything goes good at the park. We still have to be who we are. We can't change that just because of this situation. Shane reluctantly decides to go with Rick to the park and help the situation there. They get to the park, close to the concession stand, and notice a huge crowd of people with bags and belongings full of fear. Rick gets out of the car and tells Carl and Lori to stay put as him and Shane go to the military in charge. They both start walking closer to the concession stand as 2 children come running from the nearby neighborhood, and the girl had a gun in her hand. Shane stops them. Hey. Are you kids okay? Where are your parents? The young girl says their father never came back from their neighbor's house hours ago, and their mother Hannah was a few blocks away and told them to run here while she distracted the walking corpses. During this, the military is loading people in buses and vehicles to take them to Atlanta. Suddenly, Lori yells to Rick and Shane, and they see a big group of walkers getting closer to the park and their 2 sheriff vehicles. Both of them run towards the cars, but the walkers are moving closer and closer. Shane gets in his car and starts it ready to leave. He turns around and notices Rick hasn't started leaving. Lori tells Rick to hurry, they are getting closer. Damn it, it's dead. Lori, we're going to make a run for Shane's car. It's our only hope. At this point, the walkers are within 10 feet of the back of the car. The three of them get out of the car. Walkers are closing in fast. Carl trips and falls to the ground and screams, Dad! Lori is able to get him to his feet, and they start running towards Shane's car again, but walkers grab Lori and take a huge bite out of her shoulder, and she goes down. Shane grabs Carl and pushes Rick towards his vehicle. Rick stays to help Lori, but Shane keeps pushing him towards his car. They all get in the car, and Shane had left the car running this whole time. Walkers bang on the back of the squad car, and Shane takes off, wheels squealing. They can see all the people in the park running in every direction as the walkers heads toward their next victims. The military get in their vehicles, leaving everyone behind. Shane, Rick, and Carl head towards Atlanta, hoping they will find the protection and resources that they need. Hopefully you enjoyed this first episode of our What If series that a lot of you have been asking for. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video. And I'll talk to you guys all in episode 2.